Ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of the NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Season Mode playthrough. We're going to have a doubleheader here tonight at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the New Hampshire 100, and then the second race following that in this same stream will be at the Dodge Raceway for the season finale of the NASCAR FeatherLite Modified Series Season 1 edition. The second season will be the custom schedule season. Already clinched the championship after last night's win in the second race of the doubleheader. Not only just a win, but a max points day at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So no matter what happens in either one of these two races, Chuck Spicer is your 2004 FeatherLite Modified Series champion. But we'll see if he can finish out the season strong and go for two more wins here tonight. Cars One Boy Oni, Kyle Larson, Fan DB, Forever 85, and everybody else coming on into the stream. Welcome. Let's get this night of racing underway. Old school NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 edition. Green flag in the air, 100 laps at New Hampshire. Race 1 will begin. Chuck Spicer on the pole for this opening race. No practice or qualifying entering race 2 tonight. So I figured I'd qualify for race 1. Spicer won at New Hampshire earlier this season, so he's trying to go for the New Hampshire sweep. And he's going to start off by leading lap 1 from the pole. 5 bonus points, but that doesn't matter for him. He's already got the championship locked up. He had a 209-point lead coming into this race. You can only outscore somebody by as much as 93 points if you get the max points day by leading the most laps and winning the race. And then the driver you would be trailing would have to finish last with no laps led, which would only be 22nd, because remember, there are only 22 cars in this modified series field. So great season for Chuck Spicer. Only a few finishes outside the top 10. No DNFs on the season. That's been big as well. I believe his worst finish is only 13th. So very, very good run this year for Spicer. Just looking to finish it out strong here tonight. It's probably going to be the easiest of the two races if I had to assume. He did dominate New Hampshire earlier this season, even after starting at the rear in that race. Already kind of pulling away in the first 3 completed laps. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Yep, Championship Drive Celebration Edition. There we go. Pretty much near flat out all the way around New Hampshire in the Modified Series. It's a lot wider than, say, Milwaukee, as far as the 1 mile racetracks that are flat for the Modified Series schedule. Lionette, welcome to the stream. We'll see if somebody can run Spicer down, but for right now, he's making it look easy out there. Only 5 laps in, though. Still a long ways to go in this one. Race 2 will be the shorter of the two here tonight at the Dodge Raceway. Just a quarter-mile short track. 150 laps set for that one, so although it is 50 laps longer, it's a 3/4 mile shorter of a racetrack. The laps are much quicker. Lap times here at New Hampshire, right around 26 to 26 and a half, maybe 27 seconds by the end of the race because of the tire wear, but at Dodge Raceway later today, they're going to be right in that 11 to 13 second lap barrier quite a bit, at least with the faster cars in the field. Got to be the fastest racetrack on the Modified Series schedule right here at New Hampshire as well. Top speed going into turn 1 this time for Spicer at 143 miles an hour. And even in the middle of the corner, not really dropping it below 113, if that. So he got out to that 5/10 of a second, 6/10 of a second lead. He hasn't pulled away any more than that, nor have they really closed in over the last 3 or 4 laps. Spicer has not led wire to wire in a race this season, nor have I ever done that in this NASCAR 2005 game. Now, granted, there are no pit stops in the Modified Series, so maybe a little bit easier, plus the races are way shorter. And this is only a third of the length. of a Cup Series race at New Hampshire that you would see in NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005, where the race would be 300 laps instead of 100. 7 people already watching very early on in the stream. You don't want to go anywhere. Again, this is race 1 of 2 here tonight as we round out the Modified Series season. Champion is already crowned, but still looking to have some good racing here tonight. Likely have that Busch Series race. Actually, we will have the Busch Series race tomorrow at Richmond. I can guarantee that. That will be tomorrow night's stream. Alternating through the different camera angles for the first time in the early going of race 1. 1.1 second lead for Chuck Spicer. With this being one of the tied for the longest racetrack of the ovals, at least on the schedule. Well, never mind. I forgot we raced at Rockingham. Because Rockingham would be the biggest racetrack on the circuit. Just over 1 mile in length would be the Rock. Anybody see the NASCAR news today with Ross Chastain going to Trackhouse to drive their second fully funded, full-time series ride next year in the Cup Series? Pretty interesting, I gotta say. I think most people were probably leaning on them going with Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch still a free agent at the end of this season. I think with the move being made there, I think it's a really good possibility that Kurt Busch is going to end up landing on his feet at 23:11. If I had to make a guess on where Kurt Busch went, I was leaning on either there or Trackhouse, and now that Chastain's staying with Trackhouse, my bet is that Kurt Busch is going to 23:11. Assuming they open up a second car next year. And if they don't, I don't know where Kurt Busch goes, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm really banking on them having another full-time ride. So the Chastain move, I was surprised. Yeah, I think most people were probably expecting Kurt Busch to take that ride over Ross Chastain. But the one thing that I applaud really for Trackhouse making the move. We got somebody blowing an engine down the back straightaway right now, trying to nurse his race car into turns 3 and 4. We'll see who that might be if Spicer can get to him before he makes it to pit road. I think that car's going to make it to pit road well before Spicer's going to get there. I guess that'll work for him, too. Don't have to worry about running into him or anything. And now we got a second car blowing an engine down the back straightaway 1 lap later. So lap 18 we had an issue. Now on lap 19 somebody else has an issue. Spicer's pulled out to a 2-second lead. This car's going to make it to pit road just before Spicer's going to get to him as well. And tough to tell who that was, too. Already lap 20. Fifth of the way through the race. But anyway, what I was going to talk about with Chastain going to Trackhouse, the one thing that, or at least maybe even if not like applauding, when you look at Trackhouse, they aren't in it for the money. You could tell just by them, just look at the driver lineup for next year. Looking at the driver lineup alone, they are in this thing long term. And likely with these two drivers long term, assuming that they both pan out, I think they've seen what Rick Hendrick can do with a 4-car team, and look at the driver lineup they have. They're all young, they're all very talented, and I think Justin Marks is trying to find that the similar driver lineup. Obviously, he can't have a 4-car team right now. There's just not enough charters available. But by buying out Chip Ganassi Racing, they have, the parts and pieces put together. I know they got a new car, but I'm talking about with like everybody working in house and everything. They'll have enough people to work on two vehicles throughout the course of a work week. All the resources available as well for them that they might not have had fully this season. So I look at them expanding for the future with that. But if you look at the driver lineup, they're thinking long term. How many underfunded teams do you see try to go after a driver that might be washed up? I'm not saying Kurt Busch is washed up by any means, but trying to go for a veteran driver that's going to bring in funding, bring in sponsorship, or maybe bring in a very young driver who has little to no experience, like say Quinn Houff, and bring them in because they have the funding and get the financial backing behind the team. Trackhouse is not going for that. They're going to try and find younger drivers, hence Daniel Suarez, Ross Chastain, but proven enough younger drivers that if they pan out in the Cup Series, these two drivers could really carry Trackhouse into the future if they both pan out over the next couple of seasons. So, is it going to be a huge step up from year one to year two if they would have gotten Chastain over Kurt Busch? No. Honestly, I think they could have made a quicker jump with Kurt Busch, but you're not going to get the longevity out of Kurt. He's maybe going to have a year or two or three left at the very, very most. I don't see him going too many more years. So if you do that and Chastain ends up going, somewhere else, say like a Stewart Haas Racing or something, he goes somewhere else and you can't get him, who would you put in the second Trackhouse car when Kurt Busch retires? Justin Haley's with Colleague already. AJ Allmendinger would likely be with Colleague, so you can't go after one of those two guys. And who else in the Xfinity Series would you look at? Harrison Burton's already moving up next year with the Wood Brothers. Cindric's moving up next season with Penske. I mean, there's like really nobody else that you can say for sure could pan out in the Cup Series, which I think is also going to make the Xfinity Series very interesting next year. Ty Gibbs seems to be locked up with Toyota, so I don't think he's really, going to Chevy with Trackhouse if Kurt Busch was to sign there and they needed somebody a couple years down the road. So, you really don't have anybody you could really say 100% you can go to and you're sold on. And I think that's the idea with Ross Chastain, where if they both pan out, they're both in their 20s right now. It could be almost like an Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson kind of situation with the driver lineup. Maybe not the talent that Larson beholds would be within Chastain or Suarez, but just the fact that they are younger, they can win you races, and who knows? Again, maybe down the road they could compete for a championship, and that's what Trackhouse is in for the long haul. They want to win championships down the road. So we'll see what you got. We'll see what they got. Does NASCAR still have the past champions provisional, or do they take that away? Ask us 7-time maybe coming back. Oh, gotcha. No, they don't. With the charter rule, there is no like driver provisional or anything. So, if Jimmy Johnson wanted to run, say part time with NASCAR, I don't think he'd run full time, obviously, with IndyCar. And even after IndyCar, I don't see Jimmy Johnson ever running full time in the Cup Series again. If he were to run part time, he would have to run for somebody other than Hendrick, because Hendrick's already got 4 full time cars. He can only field 4 cars. And he would have to qualify his way in unless he is racing for a chartered team. So if he is running, even if he's running a Rick Ware racing car, if one of those Rick Ware racing cars is chartered, then Johnson would get in the show. He wouldn't even have to qualify. So it's kind of one of those circumstances. It all just falls on, if he were to run, it'd have to be under a chartered team if he was going to be in the race without having to qualify his way in. And obviously he would only have to qualify his way in if there was more than 40 entries as well. So if he decided to run the Coke 600, there's only 40 entries with him involved. Even if he was unchartered, he'd be in the race. Kurt Busch could create a team with his brother, Busch Motorsports. Are women people or property? My goodness. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Kurt Busch could go to RPM. I don't see Eric Jones leaving RPM after this season. I think he's in contract through next season still. Unless they were to absolutely cut him. But the problem is if you cut a driver under contract, you're still losing the money either way. You would still, like Eric Jones, regardless if he races or not next season, he's gonna get paid a certain amount of guaranteed cash, which would likely be the majority of the contract. Looked like we had an accident somewhere around the racetrack. The driver who is slow down the back straightaway, who just went a lap down, has heavy damage. He's sparking out of the back of his race car. There's smoke rolling out of the back of it, so you knew it wasn't an engine failure. Field's bunched up a little more in the second half of the field as well, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Chuck Spicer's pulled away a little bit more, out to just over a 3.5 second lead at lap 36. But yeah, I don't see Kurt Busch going to Richard Petty. I mean, see, that's the thing. We don't even know if 2311 is going to have a second car next year. I'm just saying if they do, I think Kurt Busch is going there. But if they don't, I don't know where Kurt Busch goes. Like, what other... Does he go back with Stewart-Haas Racing? Now, that'd be interesting. Stewart-Haas Racing has been hurting badly this season. They have been missing Kurt Busch dearly since he left. More so this year, obviously, than last year. I think the combination of Boyer and Kurt Busch leaving within the last couple seasons has hurt Stewart-Haas Racing. I think Kurt Busch could definitely bring that program back up to how they were last year or even the year before. I'd say more like 2 years ago in 2018. So maybe that could be an option. I don't know who he would go in over. Eric Almirola just won a race this year, and if Smithfield stays with Almirola, I'd like to think that Almirola is probably going to drive for Stewart-Haas Racing next year. I think that win at New Hampshire saved Eric Almirola's season, and he might have returned next year anyway. But I think this is more of more of a bigger job security kind of win for Eric Almirola at New Hampshire a couple weeks ago. That I think this for sure locks him in, where it might have been a little over 50% that he was staying with Stewart-Haas, but it definitely wasn't guaranteed. I think now it's more towards the 90% threshold that he's going to stay with Stewart-Haas Racing. If a driver was to leave Stewart-Haas Racing next season, Kurt Busch was to replace him. Harvick's in contract for a couple more years. He's not going anywhere. I think he's in contract through 2023, if I'm not mistaken. It might be through next season. Next season could be the last for Harvick. I'm not sure. I want to say 2023 is when his contract runs out, so I think Harvick's got 2 years left after this season. Almirola's a free agent again. I think he'll resign. Chase Briscoe's a rookie. Obviously deserves it. I'm all for second chances. Cole Custer's had a bad year. And the weird thing is that he did win a race last season in his rookie year. And he's the first rookie to win a race that it was a non-rain shortened or a weather shortened race in about a decade. So I don't know. But if anybody of the four were to leave, I think Custer would be on the chopping block. I mean, he's even behind. Almirola's up to 23rd in points with the last few races he's put together on top of the win. Cole Custer's 28th in points right now. It's bad. And at least Almirola's shown some speed. Custer's still not shown anything in recent weeks. Talk about more than just New Hampshire as well. Because even Nashville, Almirola qualified on the pole and had a top 5. I think he had a top 10 in one of the Pocono races too, if I'm not mistaken. Almirola would have at least. Custer crashed out in both of them, so I know he didn't have a good Pocono doubleheader, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, and that could be what Kurt Busch is waiting for as well. 2311 can't get a second charter. Unless he runs part-time with colleague. But I would think Kurt Busch would want to run full-time if he does run next year. Well, the only thing is, he said he wants to run the next-gen car. Maybe he does run part-time. It like splits with AJ because they said AJ's going to be running part-time for colleague, but they didn't say who else was going to run the rest of the season. Because AJ's running full-time Xfinity next year, so maybe Kurt Busch runs those races. Or maybe that's where Jimmy Johnson steps in to run some part-time races. I think if Johnson was to run part-time next year, he would run for colleague. I really do. AJ would probably run most of the road courses, but I don't think he can run them all because, like, Sonoma would be a good race for Johnson to come back to. It's in his home state in California. Driving with colleague, it'd be a Chevy. It'd be a road course that isn't new on the schedule, so. And practice and qualifying's coming back, so I feel like he could easily get back in a rhythm there to have a competitive run. Well, they can't expand the field size for the moment, at least. They can in the future when the contract ends for the current charter rule, the charter placement. Because in that charter rule, the maximum field is 40 cars. That's why there's only 36 charters. So if they were to, add more charters, say, if they wanted to start a new negotiation for after, man, what year is it? 2024, I think the charters run out, so into 2025. If they were going to keep the charter rule, but maybe add more charters, I think they would probably expand the field to 43, maybe allow 40 charters and then 3 non-chartered teams. I don't know. That's my best guess, but I mean, something's obviously going to be pretty big in the NASCAR news world 3 years from now regarding how you qualify for a race, simply. Because these charters are selling big, and we don't even know how long they're going to be around for, which is just crazy. So as far as Chuck Spicer trying to go wire to wire, he has already led the first half of this race tonight at New Hampshire. 50 laps in the books, still 50 to go. Has not had to worry about lap traffic yet. We do have 3 drivers out of the race, 2 for engine failure, 1 because of a crash. Obviously no cautions in the FeatherLite Modified Series. And now we have another driver at the tail end of the lead lap who has just blown an engine at lap 51. He's going to try to nurse his car around the racetrack. That's Rod Hansen in the 101. Spicer had to enter into turn 1 to the outside to miss him. So make that 4 cars who are going to be knocked out of the race. R6, welcome to the stream. You would have to think that a second 2311 car would be able to out-qualify NBM. Maybe an extra Rick Ware racing entry that wouldn't be chartered or something. I mean, the only races they'd even have to worry about it would be Daytona and Talladega. And honestly, the single car speed is good enough. The only race they'd really have to worry about is the Daytona 500. And honestly, they have the speed that they could probably just qualify in on normal speed. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream as well. Marvin Humphreys is going to be the first lap car that Spicer's going to catch. We're in the second half of this race. Lap 55 at the start-finish line, over a 6.5-second lead for Spicer. From the pole, he's led every lap so far. He's got a little loose on entry to turn 1. Spicer passes him cleanly. Another driver's blowing an engine on the inside of the racetrack. Oh, Humphreys overdrives 3 and 4 underneath Spicer, and he gets into the race leader. Humphreys got into the wall off the exit of turn 4 as well. What was he thinking there? It's a good thing Spicer's got the championship locked up already, but he had a perfectly clean race, never made contact with another car or the wall, and he just got ran into getting into turn 3 that last lap. Yeah, but Bubba Wallace is in contract for next season, though, too. So he's going to be driving that car next year no matter what. Because it was a multi-year deal. I think it was only a 2-year deal. I don't think it was a 3-year deal. I know you can look all that stuff on J-Ski to double check, try to fact track me, but I'm pretty sure Bubba Wallace, when he signed with 2311, it was a 2-year deal. So he will be racing for him next season no matter what. Lap 60. Still got a second race here tonight at Dodge Raceway. Spicer trying to finish out the season strong. Paul Donnelly in the 105 car will be the next driver to possibly go a lap down. 5 drivers out of the race up to this point. Spicer dives it deep into 1 and 2, clears Donnelly with ease. Back out to just over a 6.5 second lead once again. Honestly, even with this big of a lead, Spicer doesn't even have to really rush through the lap traffic. Still enough time for the drivers further back in the pack to catch him if he does struggle quite a bit through the lap traffic, but not making contact is going to be the big thing. Contact he had a little bit ago for Marvin Humphreys didn't help, even though it was completely and 100% Marvin Humphreys' fault. Not sure if he just overdrove the corner or what it was that he got into Spicer's left rear getting into turn 3. Only contact that has been put on that 148 car all night long. He's not really closing in very quickly on the back of that lap traffic either, but he's still pulling away from second on back at the same time. Leads out to 7.5 seconds. Obviously going to help Spicer. Just in case something chaotic were going to happen here in this one. Alternate through the different camera angles one final time in this first race here tonight. Eight-second lead and growing. Spicer makes a pass. He's going to make another one through turns 3 and 4. All clear. First time in the entire NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 playthrough that me personally can possibly lead every lap in a race from start to finish. Just 30 laps to go here tonight at New Hampshire. We know we're not going to get any cautions. So it's really just a matter of not getting involved in anybody else's accident up to this point. It's an 8.5 second and growing lead. It's great car control by the 148 here tonight. As smooth as could be. Even with the championship locked up already. Maybe that's made it easier for him. There's absolutely zero pressure, and he's able to perform even better than what he has up to this point through most of the season. It's going to be a far more dominating win than what his first win here at New Hampshire was earlier this season. Not only by margin of victory, but just total lap sled as well. That was also a 100-lap race earlier this season. So both equal lengths. Just like both Dodge Raceway events. One we had midway through the year and the one we're going to have to end the season. Those will both be 150-lap races. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Harvick's contract goes through 2023. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew it was either 22 or 23. And I think it was originally 22, but then he signed another year extension earlier this season, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was during the off season. Yeah, I think the team in the most trouble right now is Storehouse Racing as far as trying to find a future driver lineup, knowing that Kevin Harvick isn't. I mean, he can't have too many more years left. You'd have to assume to run full time at least. And Almirola is probably going to be out the door soon. You got Briscoe. He's got a pretty bright future, but not to lead a team this early in his Cup career. Same goes for Cole Custer. It would actually technically be a year more progressed than Briscoe as far as the Cup Series level goes. I mean, they're going to either have to. I mean, they're going to have to downsize. Unless they can bring another veteran over, but I don't know like who would still be a high candidated veteran by that point. I don't know. Maybe they do go after Matt DiBenedetto. I don't know. But even then, it's just like unproven with Matty D. At least in decent equipment, unproven. Not A-tier equipment by any means. So why Shiner could not have made this race any easier. Right when I said something. A little too wide before entering turn 1. First time Chuck Spicer has even scraped the wall this entire race. Yeah, we already know that. Keselowski to Roush next season. We pretty much known that for a while. It just became official, what, like a week or 2 ago? 2 weeks ago? Very highly speculated that it was all but guaranteed he was going there for most of the season. 19 laps to go, this time by for Chuck Spicer. 2 more lap cars right in front of him, the 192 and the 163. He'd like to get around him, but he's not going to be over aggressive with it either. Pretty good corner. All the way through 3 and 4. Passes both the lap cars in front of him. We're not going to have many drivers finishing on the lead lap at the end of this race either. 10.5 second lead for Chuck Spicer at New Hampshire. I believe this would be the largest margin of victory for him this season if it stays the way it is right now. It's been a pretty quiet race for the most part. We had an accident. We didn't actually saw what happened in the first probably 30 laps of the event. We have had 4 engine failures, I believe, in this race on top of that accident that took out another driver. So I believe there are still 5 that have DNF'd up to this point. Even more are a lap down. Coming to 13 laps to go, this time by with just over an 11-second lead from Chuck Spicer. Qualified on the pole, and he's looking to lead this race wire to wire, lap 1 to hopefully lap 100, which would be the final lap. First time in my, really ever, at least with the full races, for NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Obviously, I know it's, again, a modified series event, but still, how impressive would this be? And I think just racing at New Hampshire earlier this season really helped it. Plus practicing and qualifying, something we haven't done for a whole lot of races this season. We qualified for over half the season, but as far as the practice goes, Only a couple races we have actually practiced for this year. I'm not even quite entirely sure why I did practice, knowing we already clinched the championship. Didn't have to make any adjustments, so we pretty much had the setup from where we had it for that first race earlier this season when we won at New Hampshire. I don't think there's enough time left in this race for myself to max out on these skill points today, unfortunately, but I guess we'll still have another race to get some. I'm trying to unlock all the fantasy tracks before the start of the next season for the Cup Series, especially. There's a lot of them in here. Some of them are like tracks that don't have lights, too, that have lights and stuff. I'd like to change that part of the schedule up, like Dover, and run the original Night Martinsville with the NASCAR EA games. Add some flair into the custom schedule season next time around. Seven more laps. Just over a 12-second lead now for Spicer. Trying to lead wire to wire. Got 8 people watching right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. This is the first of 2 races tonight. The season finale at the Dodge Raceway will be up next on this very stream. So you won't want to go anywhere. We'll not practice or qualify. We'll hop right into that one. Knowing Chuck Spicer's already locked up the championship. 2 races before the end of the season. Does it happen with a win, and not only a win, but a max point stay at Indianapolis Raceway Park last night? Not really mattering what happens tonight, either in this first race at New Hampshire or at the season finale at Dodge Raceway. 5 laps to go for Spicer. He's got the possibility to win 3 straight to end the season as well. This would make it back-to-back wins once again this year. 3 races ago, he finished 8th at Old Spice Speedway. Rockwell battling for the lead with 11 laps to go in that one. We're ready to go. I know we're not going to have any cautions to deal with. If I remember right, we had a couple accidents at Dodge Raceway earlier this season, so knowing how short of a racetrack that is, this could be a very interesting season finale. Get another good thing and a good job of Chuck Spicer really clinching the championship a couple races early. 13-second lead now off turn 2 this time. He's not even going to attempt to pass another lap car, although he is closing in on one of them. I don't even know if he's going to get there anyway, running as fast as he is right now. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go at New Hampshire. Well, 13.5 seconds is the difference at the start-finish line. Checker flag in the air, and the New Hampshire 100 will go to Chuck Spicer. Chuck Spicer wins wire to wire, leading the opening lap to the checkered flag. Every lap led in this 100-lap race. Definitely deserved this one. Take a look at the rest of the finishing results. Only the top 9 cars finished on the lead lap in this one. Obviously, again, no lead changes, with Spicer leading every lap from the pole from lap 1 all the way to lap 100 at the checkered flag. Danny Ross finishes second, Bruce Kennedy third, Elmer Cadwell fourth, and Kelly Walker rounds out the top 5. George Myers 6th, Travis Foster 7th, George Dennis 8th, Tony Durbin 9th. Troy Durbin 9th, and then McMillan rounds out the top 10. Again, he finished the first driver 1 lap down. Had 5 DNFs in this race. We saw Darren Dempsey DNF due to an engine failure. Rod Hansen had an engine failure. Brady Barnes, I believe, was the driver who got in an accident back at lap 35. His day came to an end there. And 2 engine failures at lap 19 and lap 18 from Howie Black and Calhoun. So one more race. This will be in this very stream. At the Dodge Raceway. We'll take a look quickly at the current point standings. We already locked up the championship with our driver, Chuck Spicer, but we still have to see who might finish second in points on back. See how much of a battle there will be there. There's no championship to watch. So George Dennis is currently second in points still over Elmer Cadwell, who is in third, Danny Ross in fourth. Mathematically, second and third could change. Cadwell could significantly outpoint George Dennis in this race. Danny Ross could get into the top 3 outpointing Cadwell, but he cannot catch Dennis for second. Myers is actually really close to Danny Ross for 4. So there is some battles throughout the top 10 that could change here or there. Mainly really one position each. I guess technically George Myers in 5th in points could mathematically catch Cadwell for 3rd as well. Oh, no, he can't. He can only outscore somebody by 93 points. Never mind. Did my math wrong there. It's 101. Guess you're not really going to see anybody, at least within the top 5, change more than one position at a time. Oh, this is going to be a night race at Dodge Raceway. We had a day race here earlier in the season. Well, that'll be interesting. I don't think it's actually going to be under the lights. I've never seen this track under the lights before. I'd assume it's probably good. Yeah, it's in the daytime. They lied to us. They lied. It's a day race. All right, the Team Dodge 150 in the season finale at the Dodge Raceway for the FeatherLite Modified Series will begin. No practice or qualifying for the points leader and really championship winner, Chuck Spicer. Green flag is in the air. We're underway. 150 laps to round out the opening season of the FeatherLite Modified Series on the channel in general, let alone the NASCAR 2005 season mode playthrough. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream. Night modified races, good to say. Well, there is night modified races. I've never seen it night at Dodge Raceway before in these older EA games. This is always a day race. Spicer getting a little loose there that time as well. He's trying to be a little patient here, at least for the beginning of this one. Ooh, contact, 3 wide now. He's getting a little loose on the bottom of the racetrack. He keeps cutting the corner a little too much when trying to make these passes. Inside the top 20 now into turn 1. You're right, the lights are on, but it is definitely not nighttime. Considering they still have the daytime shadows. Spicer gave up the bottom, got pinched into the wall there by the 192. That cost him quite a few positions. Spicer would like to win this season finale, even though he's already clinched the championship. Try to finish things out, winning 3 races in a row. Just going wire to wire in the first race tonight at New Hampshire. Eesh. In contact with Rod Hansen. More contact up there. Joey Patterson's a rival, I guess, of Chuck Spicer. Oh, contact off turn 2. Patterson just got ran into from behind from Rocky Glover. Spicer underneath Glover. Driving a bit of a loose race car there. Glover shuts him off. Shuts the door on him into turns 3 and 4. Glover to the inside of Patterson now. Spicer on the inside of Patterson. Patterson. Oh, 4 wide off the exit of the corner. Patterson is really shoving down Spicer. Spicer gets through. He's up inside the top 15. Somebody blew an engine on the outside, and they were 4 wide. Through 1 and 2 a couple laps ago as that driver was trying to get to pit road, and does. First driver to have an issue here tonight. Spicer really loose at 3 and 4, trying to undercut the corner. Up to 13th. Already 20 laps in. Well, Donnelly got a little loose trying to make the pass he made in turns 3 and 4 there. He didn't make it. Spicer followed him right through up to 11th. On this quarter-mile short track. Donnelly really crowded Spicer, and Spicer barely got through. Finds himself right behind Rocky Glover once again. Glover coming off a DNF in the last race, blew an engine. Spicer underneath him, dives deep into the corner, slides up in front of Glover. Glover can't get the crossover underneath him, and Spicer's up to 9th. Glover got really tight and overdrove 3 and 4 that time. Whoever the race leader is pulling away. A little contact off turn 2 just up ahead. All Spicer to gain a couple positions with the stack up, and Spicer's to 7th. Well, contact. I believe that was Kelly Walker. Spicer to 6th. Oh, Walker almost got the wall off turn 2. Huge evade that time. battle for second going on. Another good battle for fourth. Spicer looking to make the dive for fifth place on Bill Calhoun in the 149 car. A bump and run off the exit of turn 2. Spicer to fifth rather. I think in the later NASCAR EA games, this was called Tiburon, if I'm not mistaken. So you are right somewhat there, Earl. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. Spicer currently in fourth. Race leader not even in lap traffic yet either. Spicer overruns the exit of turn 2, got into the wall. Cost him a little bit of time. Shut the doors, he holds on to the position. Big moment in turns 3 and 4 for Kelly Walker, who was trying to fight back to the back bumper of Chuck Spicer. Walker got out of shape, just kept it off the wall, but he loses a few positions, pulling outside the top 5. AJ Hicks in third place, right in front of Spicer. Spicer trying to make the move underneath him off turn 4. Big dive into turns 1 and 2. Slides up off the exit of 2 and clears him. Spicer to third. 192 car, sorry, the 190 rather. Slowly catching up to the race leader. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the season finale here at the Dodge Raceway. Yeah, how about that? 150 laps, it's only 56 miles. Crazy. Definitely one of the shortest races of the season as far as mileage goes. We're making this season finale even tougher for some of these drivers battling for points. Though, again, we do know that Chuck Spicer has clinched the championship even before the New Hampshire race. Got underneath the 190. Spicer got the door shut on him again, though, in turns 1 and 2. That's Darren Dempsey right in front of him. Trying to put the pressure now on Dempsey. See if Dempsey's going to make a mistake, and Spicer can maybe capitalize and get underneath him. Dempsey's not wiggling. Spicer not really putting a whole lot of pressure on him either. Now he's tucked up underneath him. Oh, Dempsey got a little sideways that time. Spicer got a little slidey as well. Good thing that pit road opened up a little bit. He had that extra pavement. There's a big slide off turn 2, and he didn't lift any extra. Dempsey continues to slide in these corners. Spicer putting a lot of pressure on him, but he just can't get around him. Next time he slides, Spicer's going to have to pounce. He's not able to do it, though. Another car's just blowing their engine on the outside of the racetrack. They'll get to pit road. They kind of messed up the corner exit off turn 2 for Spicer. Spicer with the dive underneath. He gets crowded by the 190. Couldn't make the pass. Race leader starting to struggle in that lap traffic a little bit, and the lead's brought down to about 1.6 seconds. Spicer with a deep dive into 3 and 4. Completes the pass into turn 1, finally up to second place. Spicer's slowly starting to catch the lap traffic now. Spicer's starting to lose time to the race leader, though. He just cannot get around Hansen for the moment. Now he finally gets around him. Going to quickly try to pass Paul Donnelly next. Gets underneath him off turn 4. Slides getting into turn 1. Passes another lap car. Spicer, a little contact. Ronnie Williams in the 64 car. Spicer's not getting through the lap traffic as well as the race leader. I believe is Elmer Cadwell, the 131 car. We're halfway home, 75 laps down, 75 still to go in the season finale. Spicer messed up 3 and 4, driving it in too deep there as well. Hasn't really even gotten close enough to put any sort of pressure on Cadwell yet. He's holding his own pretty good right now. Less than a half a second. Oh, leader stuck on the outside. Lap car of Kelly Walker got underneath him, and that allows Spicer to get the door open. He gets into the side of Kelly Walker, though. Desperately trying to trap him behind the lap car. And Chuck Spicer gets to the lead for the first time, leading the last 2 laps now. He tries to win 3 in a row to finish the season off. Championship winning season off at that. Definitely got a lot of pressure behind him right now. Cadwell trying to fight back. Lap car got underneath and made an easy pass for Chuck Spicer to get around him. Spicer drives it in deep. He gets back underneath the race leader Chuck Spicer. Clears him off turn 4. Cadwell in the lead. Gets loose. Oh, and Spicer got into the back of him. Lost a little bit of ground. Will there be enough laps? Spicer's all over Cadwell. Dives underneath him into turn 1. Completes it into 3. Clean pass that time for Chuck Spicer. Now it's Cadwell's turn to try and get around Spicer. 60 to go. You get nearly 6 laps in a minute here. Fastest lap of the race for Spicer is a 10.872. Last lap was about an 11.034. 90 laps into the run. Of course, the tires are slowly wearing out. Lucky Glover going to let Chuck Spicer go. Spicer slid his way through turns 1 and 2 to get around him. Now here comes Patterson. Lap 95. Spicer a little loose in 1 and 2 again. Spicer's just starting to pull away from Cadwell. But he's got his one and only rival this season right in front of him. He's going to have to find a way around. Lead's cut down to about 0.6 of a second again. Cadwell struggled with that lap car. Oh, Spicer got really loose off turn 2. That didn't help either. Now we're going to have 50 laps to go this time by. Really wide exit to turn 2 that time. Spicer using all the racetrack. Not really closing in on Patterson anymore, though. Not as much as he was. Lead really fluctuating back and forth quite a bit. Cadwell definitely still has a chance. He's still within 0.9 of a second. Can alternate through the different camera angles one final time this season now. For this small 4-lap stretch. Spicer tries to run down the next lap car. Patterson's going to be a tough out, though. Spicer's going to have to get around him eventually. We still have just over 40 laps to go. There will be enough time for Elmer Cadwell in second place to run down Spicer if he gets held up pretty heavily behind the 156 of Joey Patterson. Back to the far chase cam now for the rest of the season. Got into Patterson, a little bump. Patterson tried to run him low earlier. Oh, Patterson clipped him. Slow car up on the outside of the racetrack. The 192 might have gotten into the wall. He's got an issue. No smoke pouring out of the back of his car. Actually, there was smoke pouring out of the back of somebody else's car. I don't know if the The damage from the 192 correlates with the driver who was up in smoke. Maybe got into him from behind. By the way, there was some pretty heavy damage there. Spicer definitely did get away from Patterson. He needed that. That's perfect timing for the 192 to be slow on the outside with Patterson on the outside of Spicer. Ooh, Spicer didn't realize that lap car got back underneath him. Bill Calhoun in the 149. More contact with Spicer. 35 laps to go at the line. Lead back down to about 8 to 9 tenths of a second. 3 lap cars right in front of him. One of them, Bill Calhoun. Spicer a little loose. Got into Calhoun in turns 1 and 2. That cost him about 2 tenths of a second again. Cadwell kind of struggling in lap traffic now. I think he's still trying to get around Patterson. 31 to go. Spicer for now seems to be at least content with sticking behind Calhoun. As long as Spicer doesn't get held up too much. Got hooked on Calhoun again. That contact cost him about a half a second that last lap. I mean, he's got to get around him now. He was willing to be patient. But Calhoun's going so slow that Spicer accidentally ran into the back of him. Spicer gets loose off turn 2, trying to make the dive down low off the exit of turn 2 underneath Calhoun. He couldn't hold the corner. No, this will be the final race tonight. Got to work again tomorrow morning. NASCAR 05 Busch Series race at Richmond will be tomorrow night on the channel, 100%. That will be the race. Spicer trying to get around Calhoun into 1 and 2. This time he finally clears him off turn 2, but Cadwell's right there. And he's going to follow Spicer to get around the lap car. He is all over Spicer's back bumper. Down the front straightaway into turn 1. Both cars go wide. Cadwell's almost in the wall. Spicer's almost in the wall. Calhoun gets underneath. A little contact there. The 190 is going to be in the race lead now. Darren Dempsey to the lead for the first time tonight. Each of the top 2 overran the corners simultaneously, and Dempsey got to the lead. They didn't even make contact with each other when it happened. Spicer trying to get the drive underneath Dempsey. 20 laps to go at Dodge Raceway. Big loose moment there off turn 2. Dempsey goes a little wide though in 3 and 4. Gives it time back up again. A little bump to get to the inside now and clear off of turn 2. Spicer's almost in the outside wall, and he had to give it back up again. He pushed really hard to get under him. Again off turn 4, he's underneath Dempsey. Dempsey not going to shut the door quite yet. Side by side through 1 and 2 again. Clear into turn 3. Lap car going to get in between the top 2 now as well. That followed the 148 car of Chuck Spicer. It's going to buy Spicer maybe a little bit extra time. Now can Spicer hold on to the finish? 15 to go this time by. Spicer's really got to hit his marks now on over 100 lap older tires, but everybody's dealing with the same track conditions. Lap traffic piled on top of it. That lap car is really slowing up Dempsey and Cadwell, who are side by side for second, and Cadwell will take over the second spot once again. He's in the driver's seat now with just 13 to go as these laps wind down so quickly. 10 to 11 second lap times for most of the race for the leaders. 7, now 8/10 of a second is the difference. Cadwell finally gets around the lap car. Now can he run down Spicer? 11 to go. From 7/10 of a second back, there's still one more lap car in front of Chuck Spicer. He has not caught him yet, but I'm sure he will before the checkered flag. 10 to go in the season. Spicer trying to win 3 in a row to round it out. He's already clinched the championship. One second lead off turn 2. Now Spicer's pulling away. At least for now, he's hitting his marks perfect. 8 to go. I think Spicer's going to catch that lap car in front of him. Wayne Huckabee. The 193 car. 6 laps to go. Spicer's going to catch Huckabee off turn 2. He's going to get underneath him. Huckabee lets him go with ease. Clear off turn 4 for Spicer. Quick, clean pass. 5 laps to go. That's what he needed. Huckabee kind of overran the corner behind him. 1.3 seconds now between the top 2, and Spicer continues to pull away. He got through that last lap car perfectly. A remarkable season for Chuck Spicer. He's already won the championship. He's about to win the season finale as well. He's 3 laps away, barring kind of a miracle comeback from a 2.5 back in the final 30 seconds of the race. 2 to go. The white flag, followed by the checkers so quickly around the Dodge Raceway. Final lap of the season. Chuck Spicer is about to be a FeatherLite Modified Series champion for the first time in his young career. The fantasy driver is going to get it done. Chuck Spicer will win the race in the championship for the FeatherLite Modified Series. Race winner at Dodge Raceway as well. Well deserved for Chuck Spicer. What a season. Had the most poles this season as well to go along with it. Around the football field at the Dodge Raceway doing the burnouts. Why not in the tunnel underneath Penn Road? Another doubleheader sweep for myself here tonight with the Modified Series. Well, that 2 championships in 2 weeks. You got the Truck Series title with Carl Edwards, and now Chuck Spicer is a Modified Series champion in the 2004 season. Take a look at the finishing results to the season finale at the Dodge Raceway. Chuck Spicer leads 61 laps, getting the victory. 5 lead changes in tonight's race as well. Hicks ends up second. Darren Dempsey third. Elmer Cadwell fell back to fourth there at the end. For Hicks, he started 21st. So the 2 drivers who started in the last row, last and second to last, finished first and second to finish the season up tonight. How about that? Cadwell led the most laps today, leading 84 of the 150 laps. Giles ends up rounding out the top 5. Danny Ross 6th. 7th was George Myers. 8th place was Phillips. Foster and Huckabee round out the top 10 with just 9 drivers finishing on the lead lap here tonight. And there's Chuck Spicer, mustache and all, in victory lane. I think that's the same. That literally looked exactly like Carl Edwards, if I'm not mistaken. I think all the, I don't know what it is. Maybe all the Truck Series drivers and the fantasy drivers look the same. I don't know. Looked exactly like him. I gotta mute that before I get copyrighted. It's always saliva playing whenever it's like in that situation where I could get copyrighted. Like that last night too. All right, let's look at those season standings. Obviously, again, we know Spicer won. Winning those last 2 races pulled him ahead even more. He gained over 100 points in those last two races altogether over second place. Elmer Cadwell was able to finish second in points with this top 5 run and leading the most laps. Leading the most laps was honestly the difference maker to him. Well, obviously that on top of the 4th place finish, but if he would have finished 5th while leading the most laps, he or would have finished 5th without leading a lap in this race, which would have been just one spot worse than what he actually finished. Cadwell would not have finished second in points, but Cadwell does come back to finish second. George Dennis falls back one spot in the standings after tonight. In the final race of the season, at least, Dennis finishes third. Danny Ross fourth. George Myers rounds out the top 5 in the season point standings. Kelly Walker sixth. Travis Foster seventh. Wayne Huckabee eighth. Bruce Kennedy ninth. And Junior McMillan rounds out the top 10 in your FeatherLite Modified Series Points Championship. The season-long championship for this 2004 season. As far as the pole awards go, Chuck Spicer had the most poles with 6. Danny Ross was second with 3 as well. Cadwell had 3. He qualified on the pole at Dodge Raceway. Ty and Ross for second on the season. Kelly Walker fourth. Rod Hansen, George Dennis each had 1. So those were the top 6 in the polls. So there we go. So that is going to end this season out, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for everybody tuning in all season long. And yeah, it was a fun one, as always. Truck Series all wrapped up. Modified Series wrapped up. We still will do Season 2 for both of those with the custom schedule. And we still got the rest of the current season left to do, taking place of the 2004 season for both the Busch Series and the Cup Series still on the NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 playthrough. We'll also have, after those seasons are concluded, the custom schedules for those. So once everything is caught up through season 1 for everything, we'll do one more season with each series in this video game where we'll do the custom schedules. We'll have a lot of fantasy tracks thrown in there, especially at the Cup Series. They got a lot of fantasy road course tracks, some infield race tracks, and some actual NASCAR tracks, and some completely made up ones as well. So yeah, that is going to wrap it up. Thanks everybody for joining once again tonight. Again, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. See you guys tomorrow night on the channel whenever I can get home from work. Busch Series action at Richmond on the NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 playthrough. Thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your night.